Welcome to Wasitgood, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. I'm Ravi, joined by my two brothers,
Arjuna
and Krishna.
And today we are going to be reviewing Disney Plus's newest Marvel television show streaming thing, Miss Marvel.
streaming thing.
Streaming thing.
Nice.
It's a technical term. Very
It is
technical.
a technical term. Very
It
technical. Before we get into Miss Marvel, though, because you said streaming, and that reminded me of South Park's newest movie, Streaming Wars. Has anyone watched or heard of anything about this?
No.
Not at all.
Probably not. So it's on HBO Max. I'll be really quick, and then we'll get right into Miss Marvel. The movie event, whatever you want to call it, for South Park is called Streaming Wars. It's about an hour. It has nothing to do with streaming services. Well, it does. Water services from Colorado that go down or whatever, like actual water things. Each like farm is providing water or a streaming service because they have water issues. Anyway,
Very South Park.
very, very South Park. It is an amazing,
Nice.
very good, very good.
South Park video games are excellent.
Yeah, everything South Park is excellent.
I wouldn't say everything.
Everything. All that merch. Speaking of merch, Avengers Con
At night.
at night. Miss Marvel.
That's the thing that threw me the most. A convention at night.
Very, very unsafe. That's, well, let's just get into it. This new Marvel character, Miss Marvel, is, a new, very, very, very new character, especially the comics. Miss Marvel.
The Kamala version.
The Kamala version.
Miss Marvel has been around since the 70s, but
Right.
the Kamala Khan version was 2014.
2014. So very brand new. And obviously we're introduced to this character and her family. And I bring up her family because her mom was, saying to her, Avengers Con, it's not a convention. It's a party. And the fact that it's at night, she's 100% right.
Parents are right in this. Not going to lie.
Yeah,
I'm team parents on this.
Yeah, the daughter,
Really?
completely disrespectful to her parents.
Her mom spent all night making those Hulk costumes,
Yeah.
which I'm gonna say were pretty cool. Her
Yes.
dad was willing to go with her. If our dad was willing to go with me to an Avengers Con, I would have said yes. She broke that man's heart. That was heart
Yeah,
wrenching.
but she's a teenager. You know how teenagers be.
Nope.
They're
I
heartless,
came out as
soulless.
an adult.
I was a perfect teenager.
Yeah.
That's so funny coming from Ravi.
Wait, no, Arjuna said that. I know, Christian, we sound and look alike, but Jesus.
No. I meant you referring to
Arjuna as a...
Ravi being like, I came out as an adult. I just feel like Kamala's rebelliousness reminds me a lot of Ravi when he was younger.
And you know what? Christian, you're taking all of my talking points. That right there is why I find myself so interested and invested in this series. I at first, when Arjuna was like, hey, this thing's coming out, and I was like, cool, another fucking
Same.
Disney Plus
I mean, it's
shit show.
Look, Moon Knight was particularly painful.
Yes.
Hawkeye was particularly painful.
Moon Knight is definitely better than Hawkeye because it is a different character, it's a different part of the world, it's a whole bunch of different and new things,
Sure.
and that is what made it interesting. But
It wasn't well executed.
as a whole. If you look as a whole, no, it was not well executed, and that's why I kind of wrote Miss Marvel off before it even dropped, because I was like, I'm just gonna watch this thing and be sad and just kind of be like, why am I wasting 6-7 weeks of my life?
Oversaturation of the market, right?
Yes.
Disney Plus already had Obi-Wan out. When you have, there's only so much attention you could pay to television and a streaming service,
And especially-
content in general.
And Obi has let us down so fucking hard. We'll just throw that one out there right now.
Hot
Like,
take.
it's not a hot take. I
No,
think like
it's
the
actually very
majority
popular.
of
The
fans,
qualifier.
I think the majority of like fans, non-fans, people just looking for something to watch. Everyone's just kind of like,
They've got a lot of work to do in 5 to regain the confidence of people.
they got a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Just a lot of work.
They blew it. They were Boston Celtics
Arjuna,
in the third quarter.
Yeah, I love the like the sports reference there, like as if like it hasn't already been shot and written. Like they still have time
like you
to
go
fix
back
it,
and fix
which
it
they
somehow.
clearly don't. But I like that.
I'm gonna be
idea.
like Magic Johnson. The way to win this game is if you don't turn the ball over. Thank you, Magic. Great analysis.
But going back to what Christian said about teenage rebellion and the character of Kamala, yeah, I definitely could see myself as a teenager in her, and that I think is what made me be like, this is an awesome show. I'm enjoying it. It is fun. The other thing a lot of people have kind of like said about the show and written off with the show is that it's too childish. There's one big TikToker that referred to this show as something that you would find on the Disney Channel, which is kind of weird because it is Disney Plus. But I think they were referencing like kids like Disney Channel shows. So because everyone's like, oh, the style is kind of goofy. Like, but I looked at the style like very much like the Spider-Man Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Comparisons.
Very cool artistic style, and it's very, very different. And
it's different.
People took that as a guess as like, oh, it's
people wanted their
kitty.
People wanted their cookie cutter Marvel. Here's the same 3-thing content.
No, I'm right with you. You know what the show feels like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
and I think the thing that stuck out the most was the stylistic
tones.
Choices that they made, and I was shocked as well at like how drawn in I was to this like teenage drama, right? Like, and I think that's directly related to like how it was shot, like the acting. I don't know what it is. There's something about it that's just a breath of fresh air, because it is different than what we've gotten recently with Moon Knight, Hawkeye, all that stuff. So I'm right there with you 100%. And it's I think I couldn't help while we're watching it see the comparisons. She's into cosplay. She's into fantasy. She's in her head the whole time. I that specific part where she's like daydreaming all day long. That's what I was like as a child, like pretty much the whole time. So it's hard not to see the similarities between her and us.
Yeah, and then also like even with the parents, like our parents, obviously not directly from like Pakistan or India, but immigrant parents living in America. We didn't get a lot of what they like their culture and how their setup and everything is in this first episode. But again, you still kind of see those similarities. Us being from immigrant parents, us being immigrants in this country ourselves. It's kind of nice to see that like relationship or that you're being able to relate to it. I hate to say it, but this might be the first Marvel property where I'm like, oh, I actually feel relatable for a change to the character.
Yeah, you feel seen a little bit. Yeah.
I feel seen.
I've been invisible until this show.
Yeah. And then you jump on the internet and you look at all the fucking racists and assholes and you're like,
oh, I feel seen again.
The one that was going around was basically it was just like the face of Marvel can't be this. It's offensive to what the real face of Marvel is or something. It's
white men.
I'm just. It's very easy to find what this group is and what they're going for, and it's kind of insane. But
sense.
Whatever. I guess they didn't realize comic books have been more progressive than everything forever, like since the beginning. So that's cool.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is the first Marvel project that's really taking inspiration from a comic that was written after the MCU debuted.
Yes.
So like we're actually finally seeing the influence of the MCU on the comics back to the influence on the MCU.
It's a big circle.
Right?
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of interesting because when they actually wrote Miss Marvel in the comics, so this is the other big point of contention with a lot of comic book fans.
Yeah.
Her power difference, the power set change.
Yeah, she's not an Inhuman, and it coming from the
Terrigen mist, right?
Yeah.
So the reason they primed her in the comics like that was because Marvel in 2014 was getting ready to do the the Inhumans movie, which then got changed into the ABC failed 8-episode show.
Yes.
And then they were like, we're never doing Inhumans ever again. So understandable why they changed up her origins here,
which is also crazy,
kind of moving away from Inhumans.
Which is also crazy because like back then in 2013, 14, I was very big into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. I was like, oh, this is great. Because that's where the whole Mist and everything started was then. I remember, there was talkings around like, oh, yeah, like this event is going to be the future and the new characters and everything that you'll see in comics and eventually movies. So it's interesting. Yeah, her powers are in this, MCU adaptation. She gets it from some mystery bracelet.
Right, it's from her grandmother. There is like
I thought it was great grandmother.
So it's a relative.
Yeah.
And there's a whole box of stuff, and that's the first thing that she pulls out. So people are like, does she have a whole outfit of like superhero stuff that are all enhanced. Other people are like, oh, a bracelet. When was the last time we saw a bracelet? Shang-Chi and, the Legend of the Ten Rings. Is it connected to that in some way? So it's an interesting MacGuffin that I think like the long-term MCU fans can kind of theorize and pull on throughout the show, which will, Mephisto itself and turn out to be nothing.
Yeah.
But, it still gives you something to chew on, which is kind of a staple of these shows at this point.
I actually like to think, though, that we've kind of progressed beyond looking for the Mephistos of the world.
No, we'll never progress past that.
I personally feel like I have because, again, I surprised myself because I think the morning it came out, our junior had asked, who has seen Ms. Marvel? And I went on my tangent of, fuck Disney Plus. They come out with shit. Everything is shit.
It was hilarious. I let that text sit because I knew you would still watch it, and then I let you correct yourself.
Yes. And then the next text from me was never mind. And then it was like, guys, we should probably do a pod on this.
I wasn't planning on watching it until Ravi says, "Oh, okay, never mind."
Wow, I like how it's not me; it's Ravi's recommendation.
Junior, here's the thing: you are probably the most optimistic of us. You're not like mom and dad bad, but I feel like you give things more of a chance than me and Ravi. I think I come after that, and then Ravi's like,
I'm the extreme.
not the
no.
most.
You have some clear misses though in terms of like you're like this is amazing, and it's clearly horrible.
Guys, episode 8 was amazing. Okay, bad.
Like that opinion's terrible.
At being good, maybe to the fans.
Episode 8 is unique. Episode 8 is unique though because literally half the people who've seen it agree with Ravi, and then the other half agree with us.
I'm just gonna say the last few things I've recommended, I've been right on. Sonic 2.
Okay, you're wrong.
Stranger
Sonic
Things.
2. I don't know what you guys.
Wait, you did end up watching Sonic 2?
I watched both of them. First one was awful,
okay.
And the second one was only slightly better, but it was still bad. It is your guys' Triple Frontier. I'm like, I don't know what you guys were smoking.
Wait, but did you go with
so much fun? It's so much fun.
It wasn't fun.
See, I think though the difference is, I think I figured out I'm going to call this segment how we influence each other's viewing habits.
Sure.
That will be the magical title that will appear right here.
Can we do a little animation?
It's a lot of work, and I'm probably just going to put very lazy text on screen for it because fuck.
Just put like a little disclaimer right here. It's like, fuck that, no.
Fuck that up. But basically what I've kind of figured out, because Top Gun, honestly, is because we were supposed to have done for this pod Top Gun. For some reason, work for me has gone busy. More on that later, Krishna, because I feel like it's kind of your fault, and we'll talk about it later. Anyway.
It'll be off the pod.
Yeah, it'll be off the pod.
Donate to us, and we'll give you that info.
Yeah, check out our non-existent Patreon where we shit on our work. Anyway, Top Gun's a really good example of this because Krishna saw it whenever, and then he texted us and was like, hey, this is a really good and enjoyable movie. And none of us, prior to Krishna seeing it, had expressed any interest in seeing it, right?
No.
And then Christian saw it and then said that to us. And like Christian rarely like recommends a blockbuster level movie.
Right. So you listen. You're like, oh, ears perk up.
Yeah. So then Christian went, goes and see it. And then I've been trying to see it. And then, Arjuna's now gone and seen it. And my gut reaction is just like, I don't really care to see it because because my expectation of the movie before anyone saw it was just, I don't care, right? And if I happen to stumble upon the movie because my expectations were so low, it can only go up from there, right? But now that there's been an expectation set where like you're both like, this is visually or very good or whatever, potentially I'm going to say the same thing that Christian has about Sonic 2. Remember, I didn't end up seeing Sonic 1 or 2 because you said whatever. I just happened to be really bored one evening. It was like, hey, this thing's on, let's put it on. So even though Arjuna has said it was a good movie, I waited a long time. Like, I think what Christian probably would have enjoyed the Sonic movies more if he had discovered them randomly as opposed to like, go see these immediately. So I do think like our influence on each other can be pretty heavy.
I think I can enjoy a movie and not, my opinion's always right. So I just call it like I see it. What can I say?
Yeah.
I'm perfect. All right, let's end the pod.
Anyway, let's get into Ms. Marvel more because we're not talking obviously just about how we view content.
Perfectly.
We do have one person in our trio, Arjuna, who likes to pretend that his only job in the world is creating DVD chapter listings for things that nobody asked for.
You know, some people like to call me insane, but I like to say I'm a pioneer.
You know, the people that came to the New World probably said the same thing and then annihilated a lot of people. Anyway, Arjuna's DVD chapter listing, presented by Krishna, the bald brother. And he will be doing this with the tone of...
Oh, there's a clear choice here. Can I say it?
Sure, go ahead.
He's got to say it like The Weeknd. He's got to sing it like The Weeknd.
No, that one's hard. I had a good one.
That'd be tough.
To keep in theme with Miss Marvel and
it is Miss Marvel.
with her father, Christian will be doing it as the Hulk.
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash. Oh, God. All right, here we go. Arjuna's DVD chapter listing in the voice of the Hulk, I guess. I'm a beep star girl. Kids still use lockers? Hulk dress. Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh. Star Wars celebration at night. She's over 9,000.
Is that referencing the after credit scene?
No.
Oh. See, that would have made more sense because you can see they have the video and a bunch of like graphs.
Well, I guess it is because it's about her when she uses the power for the first time, which goes to the end of the the episode essentially.
It's pretty. It's a good short DVD chapter listing. I mean, this episode I think came in just under 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 48 total, but
like
we all know the Disney Plus credits are about 20 minutes by themselves.
Yes, so. Still don't really understand why.
It's because they credit all the versions.
I mean. It's weird, but
isn't that weird? Because isn't Disney Plus not available like internationally very much?
Yet I don't think it's in like every single country on the earth. No,
which was crazy because the credits would make you think it is.
I think those in the big market, so they're referencing all the markets.
What about the little guy?
You know, for a rating for a junior's DVD chapter listing, I think I would give this a solid 7 out of 10.
Not a 9,000.
Not a 9,000 out of 10 because that's not how the scaling works.
But it says she's over 9,000.
Christian, your voice acting with the Hulk, that is a 10 out of 10.
Wow, that's way
what?
Too
exactly what that is exactly what Mark Ruffalo's the Hulk sounded like. In
he's
Avengers. Diving more into the to the actual episode itself, like I think I started off at the beginning explaining why I like this. For you guys, you know, beyond feeling that we're finally being seen in the MCU. Was there anything else in particular? I know we've all mentioned like the art style and art direction for it was definitely kind of like a big piece that kind of makes it stand out. But is there anything else so far? Any favorite characters?
For me, I think it's that they really spent time on Kamala and her family.
Family.
Like, I feel like a lot of Marvel shows will sort of gloss over the personal life, or it'll feel generic, or feel kind of weak.
Or it'll be bad in Hawkeye.
It'll just be bad, yeah. 95% of this episode, though, was spent on developing, like, Kamala's, like, high school life, her home life, who she is as a person, like, what she's about, right? And that was really strong, really good character stuff. Like, she spends most of her time daydreaming and doodling, and she's just trying to go through high school in the 20th century, right, with social media and all that stuff. And to me, that stuff was, like, really good and really compelling, and we only got the powers and the superhero stuff at, like, near the end. So for me, that's what pulled me in. My worry is that as the show goes on and it inevitably shifts into more of the power stuff, it's going to become and it's going to feel more like every other show or movie that we've seen, right? Where it becomes like a big punch-out fest and good versus evil.
Christian,
the boring stuff.
We all know, like, again, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the show, but I am not... We know for a fact at the end there's going to be a big battle sequence.
I'm not against big battle sequences, right. But I like when they have stakes and those stakes are personal.
You don't eat red meat, character.
He's lamb.
I eat
bison
lamb and bison.
Oh, that's true. Never mind.
And he eats tuna, and you can have a tuna steak.
That's not
Boom.
okay. Well,
They actually say tuna is the most corrected. In consistency to beef.
Anyway, we're not talking about food because I haven't had lunch.
To piggyback off what Christian was saying, I think going off of that, I like the best Marvel properties and the best superhero properties, I think, in our world today are the ones that bend genres and can add in something other than just being a superhero genre, right? And so going back to Doctor Strange, you know, that was the promise of like Marvel's first horror movie. Didn't land the plane, didn't, you know, really nail that, but at least it still tried. You know, Moon Knight with some of what it tried to do. Spider-Man Homecoming, very much, you know, that was kind of my biggest comparison, I thought, from the first episode of this to Homecoming with the school elements and really focusing on the personal life of Peter and all that type of stuff. That is where I think these properties can succeed the most, because we've had 2 decades worth, pre-MCU as well, of like the superhero genre, right? It's played out, it's tired, it's frankly pretty boring. And the best movies that we've seen that have popped up over the years are not just pure superhero movies, right? The Dark Knight, Logan, the list ends there.
Wow, comprehensive list you have there.
Winter Soldier.
But right, and they all have these elements of other types of movies in them. And I think like this series is it kind of reminds me of WandaVision in the way of like, oh, this is something that's very different stylistically, right? Something that's just very different and taking a big swing. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I am concerned, I think, like everybody, because these Disney Plus shows have a clear problem of landing any of their shows, because maybe outside of Loki, besides that, all of them have had really shitty finales that just are arguably and inarguably the worst episodes of their entire series.
Usually
kind of ruin it. I think back to Moon Knight. We saw the first episode and we were like, oh, this is going to be a good show. This is fun. This is different.
Yeah.
Kind of saying similar stuff that we are about Ms. Marvel. And when we were just reflecting on it, we were like, oh, yeah, Moon Knight kind of sucked.
I mean, Moon Knight's last episode was, probably by far the worst.
By far.
The first episode did a really good job world building, figuring out this, introducing this character. The penultimate episode did a really good job exploring, interpersonal issues with the character. And then, unfortunately, it just fell very fucking
You literally
flat.
had an actual kaiju battle.
Yeah, in the mind.
But it wasn't,
not everyone could see that.
But it wasn't even good.
Made no sense.
It was really bad CGI too. Which is, again, like this, and again, hopefully, I mean, I guess we'll see it, but like the art style and everything that we've seen so far, it gives it that comic booky feel with Ms. Marvel. We obviously haven't seen any kind of like big battles yet, but unfortunately, I think this show may suffer the same problems that the other Disney Plus shows suffer in terms of like the CG. But you said as well, Arjun, like CGI in general, graphics.
It's really
everything is backed up.
The huge backlog. There's also like all the influx of these new series on all these different streaming services, and there's only like a handful of actual production houses that can handle the amount of CG that's being demanded. So my PSA to everyone out there is, if you're looking to get into something, get into graphic design, because you can probably make a lot of money. And come work for us here at Wasitgood.
Well, it's not really graphic design. It's animation.
Graphic design, animation. Get started in graphic design. Move into animation. Come work for Wasitgood for free.
Should we just pivot? Stop.
Where we have no
we're an animation
use for
house.
that
Yeah, we're
stuff.
an animation house. We'll just use Fiverr to like offload all of our projects. This looks like it cost $5. Well, it did.
You guys remember?
Sorry, that's our budget right now.
What's that movie called? The Seth Rogen hot dog one, Sausage Party.
Sausage Party. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be that type of animation.
Oh my god. I mean, that movie was just weird. I don't think I ever finished it either. So
Same.
It's a bizarre movie. I felt high after watching it.
Well, I mean, everything Seth Rogen does, you kind of feel high.
No, that's not true.
When I thought the redneck character in the newest episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, when I thought that was Seth Rogen, I just naturally felt high.
Oh, in episode 3?
Yeah, when it turned out to be Zach Braff, I was like, oh, wow, the highness just weared off. Weird. Getting into speculation lane here, or actually, Avengers Con, real quick. One thing, we saw a variety of, Avengers. One person that was not referenced, Spider-Man. Any ideas why? It's
I
not
mean-
that the world forgot about Spider-Man.
Right, as we know in Doctor
The world
Strange,
just doesn't have connections to Sony properly.
Right, because as we know in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, they reference Spider-Man. They know there was a Spider-Man, and they've worked with Spider-Man, but they just don't know who it is under the mask. As we know at the end of No Way Home, like it's not like he just disappeared. He's talked about in the Daily Bugle thing. I think it's just, I wonder if this is just that weird
Sony
Marvel thing. Because also, this show has been delayed quite a bit. This show was shot back in the summer of 2020. When they were still figuring out what the relationship of the Sony Marvel stuff was going forward. I think they've said since No Way Home came out that they are continuing to do stuff together. But maybe when this was shot, they were unsure, so we're like, just don't put it in.
I would also imagine that relationship is also specific to distribution platforms too.
Potentially.
So it could very much be that it was written in such a way that it's, Spider-Man and references to Spider-Man can only appear in theatrical release content as opposed to TV.
Though I'm pretty sure Hawkeye referenced something about Spider-Man.
I wouldn't remember because I kind of blocked that whole show out.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah. The only thing I remember is the mustache guy. And that's because he's in Better Call Saul as one of the...
Laszlo.
Yeah, as the drug guy. So
that's
all I remember. That's about it. Very kind of selective thinking there.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, okay.
And let's jump into that lane known as speculation lane here. Where are we going? We have no idea.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, where are we going?
So we talked about like, okay, all these Disney Plus shows always end in the villains having this big awful CGI fight and it sucks.
Right.
The difference with this show is we have no idea who the antagonist of this show is. And I kind of like that. I just kind of hope that this is just like her figuring herself out and her own powers, and the conflict is like herself, and maybe there's a bad guy that she fights at the end, but it's nothing like I am the supervillain.
Well, unfortunately, there is a villain.
Well, of course, there always is.
The trailer definitely like showcases an individual that they fight multiple times. I have no idea about that character. Because,
who is it?
Person with other superpowers. Wow. I don't know who the character is, but to Arju's point, and like Christian, you just said, like I do kind of hope, like that you will look at this and the antagonist is going to be like family essentially. I think that would
her
be,
mom. Her mom.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, but here's the thing though, her mom is aware of this bracelet.
Yeah, she's definitely like, don't touch this stuff.
Right.
Like,
she
she's
knows
aware
that
of these
something
powers.
is up.
Yeah.
And I wonder, do you think the mother had powers or had these same powers at one point?
I don't know if I don't know if she had them, but I think she's definitely aware of them. And like someone in the family at least was a superhero at some point or had powers, and maybe it ended badly, and that's what's going to infer like why she is so overprotective.
So I'm going to jump into my bold prediction. I think the mother had powers, and the reason she left Pakistan to go to America was to get away from said powers, which would be super cool if like she was like a pre-Miss Marvel in Pakistan. I think that would be super, super cool because, again, superheroes don't have to just be in America, specifically in New York City range. They could be everywhere. So I think that would be really, really cool to see. So that's going to be my bold prediction.
Wow. Yeah, that's bold.
Wow.
Oh, and then she finds the anti-bracelet, and she becomes the villain to take on her daughter.
Shang-Chi's her real dad. That's my bold.
What? I don't
It's going crazy, right? We've deduced our bold predictions have to be borderline insane.
Borderline psychotic.
Yeah.
That is not my real bold prediction.
Okay. I just got there just because of our speculation stuff.
Nice.
Where would you guys kind of rate the show in regards to like other MCUs? And that's obviously a hard question. So let's just reframe it to where would you rate this in terms of MCU Disney Plus show pilots? Christian, you can you take it away because we know you have an answer.
I do. I mean, I don't have a really good one. It's definitely up there. I think I want to say it's the best, but
whoa,
I'm having a hard time. Like, I think it's better than Moon Knight. Moon Knight was pretty good. It's better than WandaVision, and I liked the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, controversially. But I would put it above that. I'm actually totally forgetting what the first episode of Loki is, and Loki is my favorite.
It's
Disney Plus show. So
it's when he's in New York City and he meets the.
It goes through it basically picks up exactly where Endgame's his version falls off.
Yeah.
He's like in the desert, the time cops come for him, and then it's him learning about the TVA. Like he actually escapes, he finds all the Infinity Stones and they're like paperweights. Yeah. It's a lot of him and Mobius just having a conversation.
So so that's basically a lore dump. So I tentatively want to say this is maybe the best, or at least the one I've enjoyed the most.
Wow. Wow.
But again, you gotta. But like you said, Ravi, you have to. There's still the rest of it. The reason it's so easy to say that is because the rest of the show is untapped potential. It could be amazing. It could also be horrible. And how the rest of those shows goes definitely colors how you look at the premieres. So.
Like every show has a color scheme.
That's true.
They do actually, yeah.
Colors are important.
That's called art design
in the MCU.
Yes.
Color.
Oh my God! Stop it.
Colors.
So obviously we have the after credit scene first.
Where do you put it?
Oh, I mean, I can't really put it anywhere. I'm basically going to copy what Christian just said, where it's hard to really kind of place it anywhere right now until the whole thing is done. So, and where are you placing it?
Well, I think it's right up there with. I think it's probably a little like a step below Loki, but that's also because like the first 4 live action MCU shows were pre-established characters, right? Wanda,
right? It's a brand
Loki,
new character.
Hawkeye. I'm forgetting one. Oh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, I totally forgot about that show.
It's a rough one for them.
I mean, that one had a really good first episode. A lot of action. It was like, threw you back into the world, got you to like figure out their struggles where both these 2 characters were.
I think
had
I
a
hated
good
that
action
pilot.
sequence.
I think that pilot I actually hated.
No, the pilot I liked and gave me hope. It was the second episode where everything just went straight off a cliff.
I saw it in the first episode when they had Falcon killing people. I was like, wait, what?
Actually, yeah, this actually, you know what? I do have a place. I think this is my second favorite because it's a surprise. My first is still, I think, is going to be Moon Knight. Just because it's Oscar Isaacs and everything he does is great.
Because this is like the phase 2 of the MCU Disney Plus shows, because like now we're entering like new characters essentially
on the small
screen.
Even though Oscar Isaac played Apocalypse in that weird gummy bear.
Not
version.
an MCU movie though.
No, but it was still a Marvel character.
Well, Disney would have you believe that Fox never existed.
Is that why Apocalypse looked like a giant gummy bear?
Yeah. Because this deal was already rumored back then, and Kevin Feige got his hands on it. It's like, hey, what if we made him like delicious?
Delicious like a gummy bear. What is it? You all follow blind leaders.
Yeah, they also modulated his voice, remember?
Yeah,
it just sounded
you couldn't even tell it was him.
He sounded so much better in the trailer.
Jeez. So damage control is in the after credits, post credit, after credit scene.
Mid credits?
Anyway, is this the first time we've seen in a Disney
Plus show?
Yeah, in the first episode of post credit scene?
Yeah, I think so. And speaking of SpiderMan, the DOD character you see is from
SpiderMan
No Way Home. It's the guy from Succession for anyone that's in
So then maybe we are wrong then about the distribution stuff, because if he's there, but then again, he's not a Spider-Man specific character.
Right, he's a Marvel character.
Right.
Yeah.
So who knows what these rules are? Anyway, so I mean, maybe he and his organization is going to be the big bad, even though they're supposed to be good guys.
Maybe.
But they're government, and everyone hates government.
Right.
So.
And government and every superhero, just about every superhero, hero, comic, whatever, the government always serves as some kind of antagonistic force at some point in almost every single hero's journey. Especially like Spider-Man, Batman, like they tangle with the cops all the time, right? So it'd be kind of, I don't, at least for Marvel, I could be wrong. I probably am, but I can't think of a time where we had law enforcement be an outright antagonist to a superhero. Have we had that before?
Yeah,
Like an outright.
Winter Soldier, when it's revealed that Shield is Hydra, so then all of a sudden Shield was the bad guy.
Yeah, but Hydra is the bad guy. So it's like
Sure.
I'm talking about an actual government or law enforcement agency serving as a obstacle.
The animated Batman movie.
No,
where
but
it's
he's
Gordon.
No, I'm talking about Marvel.
He's talking
I'm
Marvel. No, the Sokovian
Sokovia Accords.
Accords,
Civil War?
led by the general guy.
Zemo.
No,
That's a good one.
The actor unfortunately just passed recently.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross.
yes.
But Zemo is the antagonist of that movie.
Sure, but the government was
He's the one that's
still-
pulling the strings to get Tony and Cap to kind of fight with each other. And also kind of manipulating the government for everything to happen. He's the mastermind.
Maybe.
We'll
see.
I will say, again, a lot of these Disney Plus shows have introduced, young superheroes that could be eligible for a Young Avengers. And I almost kind of wonder if, Damage Control is going to be the binding force to, these Young Avengers.
Because you've kind of seen them everywhere.
Yeah, and, they're all in New York, if you think about it. Kate Bishop is obviously in New York. Miss Marvel is in New Jersey. Yelena was in New York for
Killing
the end
Hawkeye.
of Hawkeye.
Yep.
So they're all geographically close together. They all could be hit up by this
Convenient.
government agency that's kind of seems to be rising in the ashes in the absence of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it could be interesting.
It'd be kind of weird to have a Young Avengers, though, when there's no kind of established Avengers. And
Well,
nobody, really running.
I think they'll be called the Avengers.
Yeah.
And there'll just be young people in it. I actually think Hawkeye's going to be the guy that leads that team.
See, I want it to be
Quick.
Anthony Mackie to, I think the Avengers, the new, Avengers or even Young Avengers, don't do anything until you do Captain America 4.
Yeah.
And he is really ingrained in the cinematic sense, not just on the small screen.
Sure.
On the big screen, he is the new Captain America, and he will then be like, okay, we have the new Avengers, or hey, Hawkeye, go train up the new kids or whatever. But I think having Captain America needs to be the starting point, because they've kind of established already that Captain America equals Avengers.
Yeah, sort of.
Because remember, it can't be...
They actually established Agent Coulson dying equals Avengers because they have to have something to avenge.
Right. All right, moving on from whatever that was.
Wow.
Let's get into qualifiers and then bold predictions.
Quality predictions.
I already went with my bold prediction, just to recap. It's that Kamala's mom had powers in the past and was a superhero in Pakistan.
Wow.
Arjuna, do you have a bold prediction and or qualifier?
Yes. I will start with...
Christian, let's hear yours.
Wow.
Now we're just going to have dead air while you guys figure out... No, go ahead, Arjuna.
My bold prediction is that Brie Larson's Captain Marvel will not only show up in this show, but she will play a prominent role in the last episode.
So not an after-credit scene.
Not an after-credit scene. Actually, legit meet her. And she'll also show up with Photon, Monica Rambeau from WandaVision.
You're just explaining the after-credit scene.
No, it's going to be the actual last episode.
So you're saying episode 6, because there's only 6 episodes. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's no 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, I'm just letting you know that 7,
8, 9.
Yeah. And then 10.
Wow.
What's up with these Disney Plus shows going British on us with these 6-episode seasons?
That shit works. That is the
It's
way
changing,
to
though.
do it.
She-Hulk will be 9 episodes.
So
Oh,
69.
boo.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, She-Hulk is another one where unless I
Don't
hear
care.
amazing reviews or something, I'm probably just going to wait till it's all done.
You're not into
Bad CGI? No, not at all. Why?
So you're a sheep. You just have to. You need people to tell you it's good before
correct.
you watch it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why there are these things called reviews. It's also why we do this pod. You dingleberry.
You're a dingleberry.
Okay, so Arjuna that's a pretty bold prediction. I definitely like it. We'll do qualifiers at the end here. So, Christian, let's hear your bold prediction.
My bold prediction, I think, is impossible. I don't think it can happen, but that's why it's bold. I think Spider-Man from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Oh wow!
Will make an appearance in some way.
So
shape,
Miles,
or form. I think Miles, and in his animated form, because think about it, right? Her powers are that she can pretty much create things out of thought, right?
Right.
She spent most of her life living in the Marvel fantasy land. Literally created comics.
She's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
She's a YouTuber.
That YouTube channel, by the way, is real. Just FYI.
How many followers does it have now?
It's got like, when I looked on Thursday, it was like 125. They use it for like marketing, basically.
Right.
So like the shorts that we saw at the beginning, they're basically a little bit more flushed out with like just the audio of the short as opposed to her voiceover, which is cool. Sorry, but go ahead, Christian.
She's going to use her powers where she can create things out of thought, and we're going to find out that she actually has created like a little Miles Morales comic book, and she's going to bring him to life to help her fight some bad person in one of these episodes.
That'd be pretty
so it won't
cool.
be like a huge part, but she's going to use the Miles Morales and maybe even create Miles Morales into this world with her powers.
Do you think, because we have seen characters from other universes appear in the Disney Plus shows, you know, obviously the biggest one was Wanda's brother. Pietro, but it was the version from the Fox's version, and then it just turned out to be just like
Ralph Boner.
Yeah, Ralph Boner. Do you think they may do something similar where it's like that's clearly Miles is like Spider-Man, but it's not necessarily the same Miles? It is just, to your point, like something she created.
That would be crazy.
I think that would be the way to do it. Because you don't want to, you still want Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse to have his own agency.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So I think it would be like, this is like her version of it. And he comes in and helps her somehow. Of course, I'm saying this because, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I don't really understand how her powers work. And that's why I also qualified it
Get off my lawn.
It's probably impossible.
Christian, I will say, if this happens, this would be the greatest bold prediction ever.
It's the bold prediction that we thought was so wrong was so right.
We would have to rename bold predictions to Miles Morales predictions.
Basically.
Wow.
Put Miles Morales in everything.
Yep.
Wow.
Let's obviously our bold predictions, but what are your qualifiers for you when we do the recap pod at the end of this, season of Ms. Marvel? And I'm calling it a season, even though I don't think it's officially been called a season. But they all
a batch of 6 episodes.
When you say qualifiers, what does that entail again? So
basically, what is the thing that has to happen in order for you to say it's bad?
Yeah, remember,
that's really simple. Yeah. For this show, it's really simple. Just follow the same formula as most of the previous Disney Plus Marvel shows. Start off strong and end on a flat tire. Just, lose all steam. I think the reason that this show works right now is that it's done a really good job of having our main character seeing the world through her eyes, having the art style, be there, experiencing the world through her eyes. A lot of the other shows feel bland because instead of experiencing the world through their eyes, we just are given a box and we just see them do things in this box, right? They're not as effective as take Hawkeye, right? Hawkeye is so bland, and he just kept being bland in his own show. We didn't see the world through his eyes, not really, not effectively. Loki did a better job of that. Actually, WandaVision did a pretty good job of that. We did see, her viewpoint. We got to see that, experience that through the world because she created the world, for crying out loud. So if they can keep with that and then not pull out and have it become generic and have the main character take a backseat to some other element that they introduce, it should be okay, but I'm not confident in that at all. So just don't do what the other shows have done. That's my qualifier.
Do what the other shows have done.
No, he said don't do.
Yeah,
don't.
It.
I'm going to be... I'm similar to what you're saying where don't follow the other shows. I don't think they can not do that, unfortunately. So my added thing would be go ahead. You're going to do the big battle, whatever. I think that's great. But if they remove the art direction, the style that they have established in the first one, where we're seeing, a more creative way of two people texting between each other, or the daydreaming sequence, or how the show even started with her voicing over and seeing the animation. If that is kind of either less or if that's gone or even less than what we got in the first episode, then to me this show is a failure.
Interesting. Nice.
Do you have any qualifiers?
I do. I'm going to go a slightly different direction here, and this is like an overall Disney problem, but just, don't kill a parent and like have it the tragedy lead to like the evolution of the character. It's like a really tired trope, and that's not just Disney. That's in a lot of superhero properties.
Oh, it's gonna be her dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna be her dad.
There's some precedent. There's some precedent to that, I think, in other media versions. I don't know if it was the video game or the comic, but it's such a trope. It's such a superhero trope of like, you must lose someone to elevate yourself. It's like, I really hope they don't do that. It's tired, it's boring, it's predictable.
Yeah.
And it would just be nice for, again, talking about like seeing a slice of ourselves, within seeing an immigrant type of family, not have to go through that.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I hate to
it's
say
not
it.
needed.
I hate to say, but then if that does happen, then it feels very close to Spider-Man, like the Miles Morales story, because in the movie that we got, he doesn't have to, but he loses his uncle, right, in order to like kind of propel and become the superhero he needs to be.
Right.
Yeah, to your point, I really do.
And
hope
then
that doesn't happen.
Peter loses
loses
his uncle
loses
too.
his
Right,
uncle,
that's
yeah.
the Spider-Man trope.
Yeah.
So you gotta lose
Batman
your
loses
uncle.
his parents.
Black Panther.
Superman
Shang-Chi.
loses. Yeah, they all lose a parent.
They all
Or
lose
someone.
a
It's a big
Yeah.
superhero trope, and it's just like one that it's like, okay, I think Hawkeye. She loses her dad when she's a little kid. That propels her to like become an archer. Wanda loses her brother, loses her husband, loses her children. It's
in Wanda's case, they went the extreme, just made her lose everything.
Yeah, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange
I
losing the love
agree.
of his life. That's kind of annoying. That's just corny.
Yeah.
It's
it would
effective
be it would be
ways.
nice to like explore other sources of strength other than loss.
Yeah.
Like there are others, right? So
Yeah.
let's explore those.
Yeah.
For sure.
That would be nice. Guys, it's that time.
Thank you for your time.
You haven't started us off in a long time, so you can go first.
Ravi
No, don't you do Christian.
was Miss Marvel,
Should done Christian.
episode 1.
Don't do me first.
Good.
Please, no. No, Marshall, no.
Please don't hurt me, Mr. Bale.
I'm going to say yes, it was fan-fucking-tastic for all the reasons stated in the previous however long this pod has been. Duh.
Wow. Did not see that coming.
Sometimes, quick side note, sometimes I wonder if we should ask this question at the start and then qualify our answer and then see if we can change somebody's answer by the end.
Be a fun thought experiment.
Yeah. I have these things and I like to put them in the air. Anyway, that's our
That's
pod.
what she said?
Goodbye. No, I'm
What?
kidding. Krishna, was Miss Marvel, The Adventures of Miss Marvel good?
Yeah, it was great. And anytime you start off anything with Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, you're in for a ride, and the ride over-delivered. So I love that song. The song, has, I think, a pretty high place in all of our hearts. So the episode lived up to that banger of an intro, and, I await with bated breath how the rest of the show will go. But at least the first episode was very
My
good.
bold prediction was almost The Weeknd will show up in the show.
Oh my god.
You should have done that. You should have done
That would be
Like
amazing.
the finale will be like some type of like battle/event at a Weeknd concert.
That'd be
He needs
so
to
cool.
he needs to redeem his Super Bowl performance, and the show
Hey,
would have been
that's-
His halftime show was
That
good.
was good.
His halftime show was
That
good.
was
No.
up there with Michael Jackson.
No,
it was not
The
that
Weeknd. The Weeknd
was
is the
disappointing.
Michael Jackson of our generation.
I thought from the limitations
He
that
might
they
be,
had
but-
because of COVID, I thought that was a good halftime
yeah,
show.
I don't think it could.
They
like,
couldn't do a regular halftime show that year. Like that was just
The
it just
halftime-
wasn't going to happen.
I mean,
I don't want to hear
yeah.
excuses. I want to hear deliverance on promises. And if he shows up in this show, he can deliver on a promise.
Has anyone here
Awesomeness.
seen what's the Adam Sandler
Hustle?
No, the one that came out a few years ago with gambling.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Kevin Garnett.
Uncut Gems.
What's it called? Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
The Weeknd is in that.
Yeah,
I
knew
he has a
that.
cameo,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. He literally spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Uncut Gems. His cameo is literally him in a room with a girl and he's like, "Feel how big my dick is."
He does a great job.
You know, really,
Wow.
he goes the whole gamut, family friendly to whatever Uncut Gems was, in
Yep.
terms of obviously not being family friendly.
Anyway, Krisha, you got to ask the question now.
Arjuna, was the first episode of Miss Marvel good?
It was. I'm excited for this show. Can't wait.
Nice. That's nice and
Kaz
precise.
and Poe.
Can't wait.
Are you guys going to let a couple episodes bank up first, or are you going to watch it week to week?
I have to watch it week to week for work.
I probably am going to watch it week to week. The first episode was good, was really good, so I want to watch it week to week. If it had been mediocre or bad, then I would just probably not watch it at all, or save it up to the end.
I will say, as someone who watches these shows at midnight, it's tough. I'm gonna have to watch both back to back.
I mean, yeah, hour to bed, Eva, even later now.
Yeah,
I mean, you've only got 2 more weeks of that, so it's not too bad.
That's true. I might just take naps. We'll see.
I got the schniffles.
Are you gonna watch it weekly or what?
I probably will, most likely. Maybe. Depends.
It's gonna be your Wednesday morning cartoon.
Yeah, because everybody needs a Wednesday morning cartoon, right?
Normally, it used to be Power Rangers for me.
Wow. No more, huh? Wow. And that's going to do it for us here on the Was It Good podcast. As always, we review movies and TV shows, and we want to know what other things we should be reviewing. So hit us up on the social medias at Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram and TikTok at Was It Good Pod. Slide into our DMs and tell us wildly inappropriate things. Also, check out the full cuts of these pods on youtube.com/wasitgood. Our website, wasitgood.info, has beautiful, amazing artwork and blog postings. Be sure to check it out and subscribe to our newsletter. This was a pre-recording of the Was It Good Pod. Goodbye.